will buy myself a cloak, even though chances are we'll just immediately stumble across one, and that will be a little bit of a waste of 63 gold. But again, bringing up that AC as much as we possibly can is always going to be a pretty solid idea. I'm sorry, my ice-themed friends, again, very well suited to take care of you, as it were. Ooh, not so much you, I guess, to a degree. At the very least, we have poison resistance we can swap into, so we hopefully won't have to worry about too much paralysis. Excuse me? Oh, and I got confused there for a second. Already forgot about my own mutation. Wondering what the heck paralyzed you? Did you somehow sting yourself in the heat of the moment there? But nope, it's just me being very dumb. What else is new? Hello, my bear friend. If you could just walk this way, fantastic. Hey, Thalfon, how's it going? Hope things have been well for you, my friend. And beautiful. Yeah, I feel like I'm very much going to enjoy that that paralysis effect. Yeah, perfect. We are just close enough that that explosion still goes off as we leave sight, so we don't have to worry about our white pack there. That is perfect. Oof. Right, you're fast. What am I doing with my life? Oh, hello, Maurice. Well, let's actually take you kids on a little bit of a hike. Demonspawn is Sif, when you find the will to play it. Demonspawn is one of the species you seem to default to a lot. Definitely. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I feel like, you know, I'm a little bit of a gambler at heart, so I love the little bit of randomness rather that's tossed in with the mutations. I feel like it's part of what draws me to both Demonspawn and to Genie rather, is that there's a little bit of that rolling the dice and hoping that something good comes up, and I'm always very much an enjoyer of that style of play, so it speaks to me in a way. When in doubt, I can pretty safely assume I'll have a good time. Morningstar of Protection. Not my favorite brand, but Morningstars are pretty dang solid. Ooh, actually, Dagger of Speed might be a pretty decent replacement for our current whip here. It's just nice to bring it to below, or I guess above 1 attack per turn, if possible. Again, hopefully we don't have to resort to such barbaric violence. We're a cultured man of the spellcraft here, of course. But we'll bring you on a little bit of a journey. Fortunately, or unfortunately rather, your first enemy that is not ice themed and instead is a little bit tougher for us to take out, but fortunately no real issues. Who did we run from? Maurice. Maurice is still somewhere on the floor. Genie is one you'd probably like, but you keep failing to get into it. That is completely fair. It's definitely, I feel like it's the randomness of Demonspawn mutations, but taken to an extreme, because at least with Demonspawn mutations, even if you don't get your favorite ones, you're still getting benefits every single time. Versus Genie, if you just get screwed over, and it's nothing but utility spells the entire time, and you are as, you know, pig-headed and stubborn as I am, and you refuse to transition into a different style of approach, something like melee or ranged, then you're kind of just hooped, and that can feel pretty rough, for sure. But I think, especially with some of the other changes, what is blowing up my blast motes? Maurice? I'm guessing you have something to do with this? Well, we'll hopefully take you out. Fortunately, does seem to be the case. Ooh, and there we go. A Cloak of Willpower is huge. Love to see that. So funny. I feel like since you started playing the game, it's trended harder and harder. Yeah, I'm not sure where I stand on that, because I feel like a lot of the changes have at least been well suited to my style of play. So, you know, when like the rain changes came out, that was huge for me, but I do feel like, yeah, it kind of goes in waves, for sure, to say the least. Occasionally there's something that comes through, especially if you're somebody who likes abusing like a new mechanic that's just way too strong. That can kind of carry you through to a certain extent, but you kind of keep going your own way. It can definitely be a rough go at things. Hey Kyub, is it safe to keep everything un-ID'd so deep in the dungeon? Almost assuredly not. I think that it's very fair to say that this is a terrible choice that is just, for whatever reason, always my my modus operandi. So thank you for the heads up. You know, speaking of things going in kind of in waves and a roller coaster of emotions, I feel like my ability to remember that we should be IDing stuff is very much in that camp as well, because there was a bit ago, I feel like it was potentially in the last month or two, that I was starting to feel pretty solid about that. For once I was, you know, actively kind of keeping on the ball and keeping on top of IDing things. But a very short-lived fancy is what we've come to see immediately here, so good to know. Can I get out of sight of that alarm trap? I can. Beautiful. And we can see, will blast motes be enough for these kiddos? No, they will not. I am not ready to face death the axe yet. Please don't random energy towards me again. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Hey Brain, how's it going? There are some very good changes for sure, but you do think on the whole the skill required for a win has gone up. You know what, I'm gonna just wholeheartedly agree with you, even if just to save my my own skin here, because that's why we keep losing in the last few months. Couldn't possibly be me. And you know, I say that a little tongue-in-cheek, but I do think I actually do agree with you in general as well, but I'm just going to take it to the logical extreme and use it as an excuse to offload any kind of responsibility off of me and onto the game. Because that's, again, just generally how we cope with things here on our channel. I can maybe kill you, but let's play it safe. Let's make sure that we're playing with the full deck here, and we can just run away long enough to at least get all of our magic back. Miasma Clouds and Paralysis as a bit of a wombo combo there, taking care of any adjacent enemies. In fact, we picked up this Broad Axe a little bit ago. Maybe we are destined to be a little bit of a hybrid style character, especially since we have a few spells that are trending towards that direction. We have decent AC. All of our mutations, even the Rugged Brown Scales, kind of fall under that same distinction of giving us a little more survivability in these close encounters of the fun kind. So I could see that working out, but no real promises. We shall see how the dungeon progresses here. I should be a little bit more cautious. I'm probably on the verge of running into our Death Yak friends. And that's, if we see them at a distance, not the end of the world, but if they happen to be around a blind corner, then oh boy, are we in a whole boatload of trouble. Oh, hello. No idea what our invisible buddy was there, but I guess we'll just roll with the punches for the moment here. Some more invisible friends. Let's not make a habit of this, my monster buddies. And that's heading towards the danger zone again here. You even could say a highway to it if you're so inclined. So let us try to avoid any such eventuality, and we'll head the other direction. I think we will pivot a little bit into fighting, just trying to give us, again, that survivability that we're always so desperate for. And then some invocations might not be a bad idea as well. It's been a little bit since we played Sif, so I'm already back to being slightly in the dark as to where I generally like to bring Invo in order to be able to channel magic with enough consistency, but shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially with that +3 aptitude. We should blow through those skill levels pretty dang quick. But Wizard, your win rate dropped from 38.26 to 27%. going into this latest update. That could be because most of your .31 games were in the tournament. You were definitely playing a lot of interesting challenges there. You know, I went on to the release notes, or at least was kind of navigating my way there before stream today, trying to give myself another refresher as to all the changes that were in this update. And I feel like I didn't properly notice the first time that your name was in this running there, or you came in second individually in the tournament. So that's pretty wild. Congratulations on that. I mean, I already knew that you were a skilled player in general, and especially a much more skilled player than myself. But definitely cool to see that in a bit more of a tangible light. And do I dare? I mean, I say that as if it's a question, and then immediately do in fact just aim to try and fight these bad boys. So apparently I do dare. I do dare indeed. And that is fantastic. Especially again with those mutations helping us out, doing a decent job of keeping us in one piece in all these melee encounters. You love to see it. Fear scrolls, that's another huge piece that can be the difference maker between life and death in a multitude of scenarios here. So that's beautiful. We're down to D10. So the lair entrance could still show up, but again, I'm willing to bet to a certain extent that it was what the Death Yaks on the earlier floor were protecting, so we'll probably have to put this vehicle into reverse at some point and head back up that direction in order to continue the run, but we'll hold off for the time being. Protection from fire ring, I'll at least demarcate here for the moment, and then I'm looking at the amulets here. And I'm such a sucker for an amulet of regeneration on any character. I was trying to debate, or at least convince myself to maybe be a little more thematic with things, go with the magic regeneration to kind of be conducive to our blasting casting. We'll probably end up with regeneration. Let's not fool ourselves. I feel like that's something that I don't even know at this point if it's still the correct call. But for the longest time, it was just by far my favorite amulet type to use. So definitely stuck with that. I mean, I can probably kill the two-headed ogre. My fear was getting in the way there, but there's such a fine line between bravery and stupidity, or hubris, as we so often label it in this game in particular. Hello, my Komodo friend. Fingernails continuing to sharpen. It doesn't mean that at some point we will no longer be able to wear gloves, so I'm hoping that don't run into anything too fantastic or incredible in that department. Ooh, hi Nergal. You might be a bit of a problem. But yeah, Thelfon, you were thinking that early to mid is like 0.2 times through present has been a gradual climb. Trap changes, opportunity attacks, high threat enemies, more situations where you dodge between floors, plus being driven to higher risk areas earlier through the shortening of branches is on, or though the shortening of branches is on hold a positive. Yeah, definitely. It's kind of interesting because I feel like to a certain extent, again, maybe it's partially to do with the thing where I was mentioning earlier in terms of identifying where my skill level fluctuates at such an absurd range. Okay, we did kill you. Fantastic. But I always have a really hard time judging difficulty, and sometimes I get really excited by like conceptual things that I don't even realize that it is a huge nerf. One example of that, I guess, is probably the Felid changes, where when I read them, my first instinct was like, those seem incredible, when really it seems to be pretty much just a nerf straight up, and I'm just horrible at judging difficulty, so I do not trust my considerations on the matter too much, and instead I just keep doing as I do, and somehow I occasionally get wins. Honestly, I think that nobody really knows how it comes to pass, because I do not play with any kind of Consistency not in terms of time played, but just in terms of ability level. But hey, so far this one's going pretty well, so maybe, just maybe, we'll at least live long enough to, again, I'm hoping, see the slime changes, because I'd like to get a little bit of an inclination as to what that is all about. I feel like slime has been so consistent, even when they added in, you know, some of the new slime types a while back. Oof. This is where I find myself very much torn, because I would like to just try and hit you again, I think. Hope that we kill you, but if another rock comes our way, then oh boy, will I be embarrassed. 98% chance to hit you with Quicksilver, I guess, is pretty solid. Fortunately, this one just has such a nice bit of damage even without any training, so that is lovely. And then, seeing a step away from Cyclops is a real risky play. Hey, we at least we play exactly how we say we do. Again, that's the only kind of consistency you can depend on from me, is making terrible decisions. So perfect. Love to see that we're still on brand in that regard. Okay, my Death Yak friend. How are we gonna fare against you this time around? I mean, we can at least soften you up a decent amount. And then, maybe we actually just Stone Arrow. Get some solid damage going, or at least that was the inclination, that was the attempt there, but I guess the game had other things in line for us, other plans in motion. That's fine. And okie dokie. Have hit all of our caps. I'm not sure if the 8 invo is enough to give us that channel magic. What do I want to do here? Probably, at least in the short term, don't plan on switching into any heavier armor, so I don't think we'll start on that department yet. And in fact, maybe we will just train some more of our magic skills, try and get a decent amount of damage under our belts. Maybe, yeah, go a bit harder into conjurations, since we at the very least have the Stone Arrow, and hopefully we find some other offensive spells in the near future, so we can start supplementing our beginner book with some more wonderful abilities here or there. Hello, my yak friends. I should not just tab fight you with my dagger. Again, I've already kind of fallen into the trap of the axe stream that we were discussing earlier. 2 death yaks, though. That I'm not feeling great about. Even with the 16 AC being so much better than we generally come to expect on a caster. Again, a mix between the equipment we found as well as those lovely Demonspawn mutations coming our way. Guess what we could do is strand you kiddos over on this side of the dungeon. And then hopefully just backdoor a little bit, sneak our way back through this direction so that we can potentially head into Lair. I think I'd like to start our exploration there before going too much deeper in the dungeon. Generally D11, D12 is where I start to feel a little bit unsure about our ability to survive. Ooh. Minotaur and Ice Caves. Interesting. We don't have the resistance for Ice Caves, but if it does end up being a very, ice-themed floor, which I know sounds redundant and silly with Ice Caves, but I feel like in my experience, I'm so often getting myself into the one that's instead like furry creatures. It's all the wolves, yaks, and polar bears. But even if we do find ourselves in a simulacrum dense environment, shouldn't be the end of the world. My eel friend, and there we go. They are both nearby as well. Oh my gosh, so there's a chance then of getting into both. I mean, I'm a sucker for Gauntlet. That's probably where I will cross my fingers and hope we can go first. Oh my gosh, they're also just right next to each other. How about that? Again, I think to begin with, let's go say hello to our Minotaur pal, shall we? I almost should just dive into this, but I feel like we have to take the briefest of looks, make sure that we're taking a path that is going to be beneficial to us. in some way. Looks a little bit scary on that side of things. Ooh, multiple amulets to choose from here, though. One being an artifact as well. Ghost Crab. It's not the best for us here. At least they don't have fire resistance, I guess. This one, on the other hand, is full of a lot of buddies that will not care too much about us bringing our firepower to bear. But hey, we'll see how she goes, shall we? Again, take advantage of the ice enemies here. That's wonderful. Quickly heal up. And we will have to step in here. Yikes. If we could chill out. How am I going to deal with you, ice statue? Feel like we're not in a great spot. I guess maybe Stone Arrow is actually going to be the most appropriate. Something that is able to deal with the range that you provide. Already, though, this is looking like a little bit of a sketchier fight than I would have liked. I was hoping that we could just kind of blitz our way through. And in fact, what we might do is pop in here, and I don't have to fight you. Let's not be too silly about things, shall we? And okie dokie. If we pop in here, lots of teleportation traps coming our way. But ideally, nothing too terrible here. Nothing we can't handle. I guess we actually, now that I think about it, can go either way, since we have revealed that the split traps here, or the split paths, I guess, are interchangeable. So would I prefer Scroll of Fog and a Lightning Rod? At least these kiddos are a little bit more in our purview to deal with fire damage. So yeah, you know what? I think I will pivot down this direction, see how it goes. Hopefully not too many mutations coming through, of course. And I feel like I'm forgetting something. What did we recently pick up? Ring of Wizardry we don't really need at the moment, so maybe we're fine. Let's not worry too much about it. And we can Flame Wave on these sons of guns. And that goes alright at the very least. Oh, and we did actually take care of our malmutating friend in the throes of battle there, so that's fantastic. And then we will pivot back up this direction to get that artifact amulet. Oh, and we have a raid coming in. I'll hold off a second, just in case you're still filtering in, Domo. But nice to see some new faces there as well. I would assume coming from DCSS. Generally, if I get a raid while playing DCSS, it's fairly safe to assume that it's staying within the game there. But I guess hello, raiders. Welcome, welcome. If you haven't joined the stream before, my name's Torinski, and we definitely enjoy ourselves some DCSS. Currently in the mix of trying to get a little bit of polytheism going. I struggle desperately to pronounce that for whatever reason. But okay, let's actually back away from our friends here. And if I can get out of sight of that distortion trap, that's perfect. And we'll have to still deal with you, but hopefully it's a little more straightforward. You were playing DCSS. Awesome. Well, yeah, no, I'm always happy to see new streamers, or at least names I don't recognize in the DCSS space. That's awesome. And yeah, how are your runs today? How's your stream in general? How's your day going? Oh my gosh. Reflection and regen on one amulet? Okay. Well, that's basically the dream. -2 intelligence. Well, technically a detriment to our caster here. I'm more than happy to eat that, because that is an incredible amulet. Holy cow. Now watch me immediately die to the Minotaur and kind of throw all that out the window, but hopefully that's not the case. And we can sneak one through here. Oh me, oh my. You could, yeah, there we go. Walk into my blast motes. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. I don't even know what my best recourse is for dealing with you. It's definitely not taking javelins to the face. On the other hand, regen amulet. I mean, try not to pillar dance too much, but I will gladly try to take advantage of that. In fact, if we could get a stun off on you, thank you. I was gonna say Sif, but that's not Sif. That's my own mutations. That's genetics, baby. Hell yeah, brother. Let's swap over to a dagger of speed and just stab the ever-living crap out of you while you're indisposed there. Beautiful.